Before we create our first web page, we need to understand the relationship between the model view controller, the file structure, and the URL. Now each of these is represented by the image below. On the left we have the file structure, and if we drill down within the applications folder we see our source code. We can drill down, for example, into the controller code and see our Python code. For example, the default controller is called default.py. If we drill down within our view code, we'll see our HTML files, which include everything associated with the front end. Now these are also related to our URL, because our URL includes the server name, which is localhost in our case, and then our app name. We've created a new app called Pluralsight. We'll be putting all of our test code within this application. And then we have our controller. We'll be creating new controllers, but the default controller is called default, and the default view is called index. We can also have arguments, which are part of the request object, and those are appended to the URL and include additional information. In this file, we're looking at our file structure. As you can recall, we extracted all of our files, and all of our source code is located within the applications folder. If we drill down within the applications folder, we can see all of our applications, and we recently created an application called Pluralsight. Now if we drill down within the Pluralsight application, we'll see our model views and controllers. Notice here our controllers and our views. Now we can actually edit these codes within a different editor, such as Sublime Text. I'm using Sublime Text, but you can use any text editor. And in this case, I've opened up the default.py controller. This is the default controller. And within the controller is a function called index. Now this index, or this function, merely returns a message back to the view. It's a very simple, basic function. The key idea here is that we will be using the browser-based integrated development environment that comes with Web2py, but you can use any text editor as illustrated here. For Web2py, MVC is not only a software architecture, but a naming convention between the controllers and the view. For example, on our left, we are within a file, the default controller called default.py. Within this file is a method called index, which returns a message back to the view. Now we must follow this exact same naming convention. As we can see, our view name is first the controller name / the method name within that controller. And these must match up exactly. So how does this relate to the URL? We're at our default application that we just created, Pluralsight, and we can see the server name, the application name, the controller name, and the view name. So in the next demo, we're going to create our first hello world and see how these naming convention ties all of our code together. We'll create a new controller called basics and a new view called hello world. So let's get started.